Hi everyone. Oh, losing my voice already. So, as y'all know, still recovering from a cold, but getting much better every day. Yesterday, actually, went to my homeopath and he hooked me up with a vitamin IV, and so now I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Vitamin B shots give you lots of energy. So any of y'all not feeling good, go get a vitamin B treatment. It really works. So with that, I feel really good. I just don't sound very good. So still, pardon the coughing and sneezing and the lack of my voice, but it's coming back and I am feeling much better. So with that, this is Origins of Soul. I think this is going to be 6.0. And where we were leaving off was we were talking about the divine feminine and the divine masculine, and how the current laws of our reality are seeming to work. So as we get into the creation of matter, consciousness, and water, which they are saying are all the same thing. They're just operating in different vibratory rates. So with that, when we look at the structure of our, right now on Earth, where we're at in matter, in the third dimension, it appears that everything is being formed through the Torah. So through this toroidal field, it's the circle collapsing in upon itself, constantly in motion, eternally moving. And then below that, we have the serpent eating its own tail, producing the infinite, the symbol of the 8, the infinity. So it seems that these are the foundational building blocks of our reality, and they are the foundations of all that we see, and they are driven through energy and water and vibration and consciousness. And that to me is amazing, to know that this literally would be how we're getting order out of chaos. So this is how matter organizes itself. Everything is going into toroidal fields, and everything is collapsing in upon itself over and over again. And this would make sense with reincarnation, and the never-ending cycles of death and rebirth. Everything coming in and collapsing in on itself, and then coming back out as creation and expressing as form, and then returning back to the internal or the inner source of which it came, which is the center of the Torah, and the center of any kind of toroidal field is stillness. And that would be the be still and know that I am God part. So we are discussing now the divine feminine and more of the patterns of creation. So these vertical spirals and these laws govern the movements of water, which composes nearly 3/4 of our physical bodies. So it's pure potential, an unformed matrix from which all life takes its being, the cosmic sea, the pleroma. It is from involution of the unformed waters that the egg crystallizes by turning in upon itself. Energy, matter, and consciousness all are one and the same. This order reverberating down into the microscopic and subatomic levels. Both structures reflect our consciousness. The full significance of this organization, which is obviously known to the Greeks, since their word cosmos means order. So being demonstrated by physics, and who say that matter actually consists of its own movement and its own organization. Similarly, the growth of a human and human consciousness is the continual refining of its own organization and the ordering of its own individual microcosm. So the organization of your physical body is a direct reflection of the same three elements: water, vibration, and consciousness. So this is again validating that what we think about, we bring about, because our thoughts are sending code to the water inside of our bodies, and the water is the instruction or the templates for the matter to form and hold its patterns. So this means as we evolve, we move up the spiral ladder of consciousness in the unwinding or the activation of our very own DNA. This spiral movement can also be found in our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems, acting as a stairway to heaven. The eagle and the sacred masculine. So how does this spiral come to exist? Is it the Divine Father's waveform on which the universe is built? Madame Blavatsky writes, "To reach the knowledge of self, thou hast to give up self to non-self, being to non-being, and then thou canst repose between the wings of the great bird. Aye, sweet is rest between the wings of which is not yet born, nor dies, but is the throughout the eternal ages." What Blavatsky is speaking of is its wings are of the great eagle. Other mystics have also acknowledged this eternal presence as the winged one, and I have come to know this winged one as Reigal. And Reigal is the symbol of the eagle or the hawk. So these are the two most common symbols associated with Reigal. So, to Zoroastrians, the Divine Father is the hawk, an aspect of the sacred masculine that never comes into the world of form, but who sends aspects of himself into the lower dimensions through the solar lords, the 7 holy Kumras. Only 4 of these 7 ever incarnate in the physical world. The other 3 remain in the higher dimensions to oversee the evolution of billions of worlds. The 4 incarnate Kumras are known as the Deathless Ones, the sons of God in Vedic literature. These are the great solar lords who come from age to age and are associated with the torch of illumination, the staff of wisdom, the tree of life, the trifold flame of the Sacred Heart, the Ankh or the cross, and the scales of justice. We find these symbols linked to the divine teachers such as Lord Krishna, Jesus, or Lord Isa, Mithra, Quetzalcoatl, Hermes, Rama, Thoth, Osiris, Horus, Moses, Pythagoras, Tammuz or Dumuzi, and Orpheus, to name just a few. The Chaldean oracles of the Zoroaster fragmentary text from the 2nd century AD begin this way. But God is He, having the head of a hawk. The same is the first incorruptible, eternal, unbegotten, indivisible, dissimilar, the dispenser of all good, indestructible, the best of the good, the wisest of the wise. He is the Father of equity and justice, self-taught, physical, perfect, and wise. He who inspires the sacred philosophy. He is a God, and celebrate Him as a circulating and eternal God, as understanding of the whole number of all things moving in the world, and moreover, infinite through His power, and energizing a spiral force. The God of the universe, eternal, limitless, both young and old, having a spiral force. The spiral of creation. To the Greeks, the Fibonacci sequence is the mathematical blueprint on which the entire universe is built. This is the sweep of the eagle's wings moving through the universe, an expression of pi, the mathematical constant that forever builds upon itself. These are some of the sacred spirals as seen in the vortexes of life as it moves through the planet. This is the cosmos, a seashell, and a seed pattern. So these are the spirals of creation. It's seen in the pine cone, a snail's shell, as well as in the galaxy. Jill Peirce writes, this simple two-dimensional spiral has a number of remarkable properties. It both came from and returns to its very own source. It is a continuum whose ends are opposite and yet are the same. It demonstrates the cycles of change within the continuum and the alteration of the polarities within each cycle. It embodies the principles of expansion and contraction through changes in velocity and the potential for simultaneous movements in either direction towards its two extremities. When we stand back and look at the world around us, we can see the curl of this spiral is mirrored in the wind and the water currents, the spiraling of smoke, the interstellar gases that form the galaxies. It is formed in the spirals of the pine cone, the unfurling of a rose, the whirling patterns within our own fingertips, the way our hair grows out of our crown. It is found in things as grand as hurricanes and as mundane as water going down a drain. These are all the manifold expressions of the eagle's wings. The Fibonacci sequence begins with number 1, then moves to 2, and then each additional number is generated when the last two numbers are added together. Thus, the sequence moves from 1 to 2, then to 3, then to 5, then to 8, then to 13, then to 21, and so on. From God's point of view, this makes perfect sense. First, the one divided itself into two, and then it created the cosmic egg, in which the Divine Mother and the Divine Father reside. This generates the Vesica Piscis, the shape that is the intersection of the two discs, or the number 3. This is the doorway where spirit can move in and out of the worlds of matter and form. It is also the exact shape of the cosmic egg, a subject that we will discuss shortly. Next, the Divine Daughter and the Divine Son were born as a mirror expression of their parents, and this generates the number 5. Then came the overseers of the magnetic fields, electrical fields, and mineral fields, which generates the number 8. So now I will show you. This is the Fibonacci spiral of pi. And this is the 8. Let me get that straighter for you. There we go. So, which generates the 8. These numbers are not simply mathematical formulas, but the first great intelligences that derive from the 1. They are the interpenetrating waveforms that hold the universe together. I know them as the Council of 9. The 9 primordial waveforms that create, maintain, and sustain the cosmos. Eventually, these higher sentient beings step themselves down into smaller subsets, creating the 9 orders of angels, the 9 Sephirot on the Kabbalistic tree of life, and the trillions of life forms found in the world around us. This is also why the number 9 is intrinsic to creation. For example, there were only 9 primary numbers before we returned to the number 10, thus regenerating the entire sequence of numbers. A circle measures 360 degrees, which when added together makes the number 9. It takes 9 months for the human gestation cycle, and some of the most sacred numbers spoken about in the Revelations is 144,000, which again adds up to 9. The dove, the Divine Mother. The dove is a symbol of the creatrix form, from whom all expressions of the Divine Mother flow. She is the heart of unconditional love. Her symbols are the pink rose and the dove. The bringer of peace. She is a homing beacon who leads us back to our center, the principle of love made manifest in the adamantine particles of love that comprise the atoms of the universe. She is the Holy Spirit permeating the universe. The divine presence has been known by countless names in countless cultures. Some of them Hathor, Nut, Aditi, Armanti, Venus, Aphrodite, Durga, to name a few. In Egypt, she is Isis. She is of 10,000 names and 10,000 faces. In Britain, she is Bridget, the bringer of light. In China, she is Kuan Yin, the mother of compassion. And in Japan, she is Amaterasu, the mother of the sun. And in Native American culture, she is the white buffalo calf woman, the teacher of balance. And in India, she is Sita, the pure devoted wife. To the Hebrews, she is Sophia, mother of wisdom. And in Christianity, she is both Mary, the mother of compassion, and Mary Magdalene, the disciple who knew the all. She is also known to me as Auriel. Finally, after nearly 1,500 years, the true wisdom of Mary Magdalene is finally being brought into the light of our time. Redeemed from the scandalous lies heaped upon her by the early church, which claimed that she was a prostitute, nothing could be further from the truth. Not only did Mary Magdalene train as a priestess of Isis at the same time that Jesus studied in Egypt, Gnostic Christians believe that she is an incarnation of the divine daughter Sophia, the female Christ who had been denied some 2,000 years, a daughter of wisdom and love. Today it is profoundly gratifying to see so many people awakening to her beauty. For Jesus revealed to his apostles that he would not return until the sacred feminine has been re-enthroned in the world. It is perhaps this reason that the feminine energy continues to be maligned and suppressed in the world today. That would make sense. Christ can't return until we balance the divine feminine energies and bring goddess energy back into balance with the masculine father God energies. That means that we cannot express. So we are reawakening the divine masculine and feminine, and we are coming to that gnosis that both are equal and opposite in their force, and they are one. So, sorry. So, okay. So, it is perhaps for this reason that the divine feminine energy continues to be maligned and suppressed in the world today, because her emergence poses a threat to the entire patriarchy system. So the patriarchal system is pushing back. Through this separation of the divine couple, we now see the cosmic egg, who are nevertheless the divine couple joined in their essence within it. Within this also we see the Vesica Pisces is formed. This is what creates the cosmic egg. Another name for the primordial drop that floats upon the cosmic ocean is the Vesica Pisces. It is also the one emblem that Jesus left to represent the heart of his teachings. In Christian theology, it became the Ichthys, or the sign of the fish, representing not only the sacred union, but the dawning of the age of Pisces. It is created through the merger of our male and female natures, which opens up our inner sight and allows us to see the kingdom of heaven. Later in church iconography, the Vesica Pisces was adapted into the mandala, or the aureole, that surrounds the entire figure of Christ and other sacred personages. It is considered the doorway through which these holy ones emerge. Numerous stained glass windows depict Jesus, Mary, or the Madonna and Child within the mandorla. This is also the shape of the Tisira Til, or the third eye, which allows us to see the inner worlds. Hermetic wisdom tells us that this primordial shape is the shape of our auric field. And this is what they're showing the Christian fish. And that's the Vesica Pisces. Also, too, okay, I wanted to show you these. Plate 14 is biblically inspired, and it is stained glass window of Mary the Mother. It emerges from the Vesica Pisces, arrayed in an almond-shaped envelope of light, like Isis before her. She stands on the sickle, the moon with its rays surrounding her. It is surrounding all around her head. It is a halo with 12 divisions, much like the 12 stars that surround Isis, making both woman as queen of heaven. And that is so beautiful. The picture of the angel watching the children walking over the bridge. This is a beautiful 19th century painting. It depicts the infinite care that our loving spirit guides have for us. In this image, we see that this angel is the angel of protection. And behind her 2 young charges, the children, as she gently guides them and watches over them as they cross the bridge. So the cosmic egg produces the auric field. This auric egg has many subtle energy layers, and it is composed of the emotional, astral, mental, causal, etheric, and spiritual bodies. The Vesica Pisces is not only the shape of a candle flame and a drop of water, it is also the shape of the eye. The windows of the soul. It is the shape of all seeds, whose blueprints produce millions of species of plants. In fact, this shape reminds us of the small kernel of wheat that the Eleusinian mysteries used to represent the soul of itself. It is also the shape of a woman's yoni, from which child emerges at birth. It is also the shape of the opening of the end of a man's phallus, where the seed of life emerges. This shape is also created by the spiraling of the DNA. From this primordial seed issues the powers of the Word that brings the universe into being. And think about it, our genetic code is filled with letters. So this primordial code is what brings forth the power of the Word. And the Word brings the universe into being. So this logos, or template of creation itself, in the Hermetica we read, I saw in the darkness of the deep the chaotic water without form, permeated with a subtle, intelligent breath of divine power. Autumn's word fell upon the fertile waters, making them pregnant. with all forms, ordered by the harmony of the word. The four elements came into being, combining to create the brood of all living creatures. Some call this eternal Hu, or the sacred Om, the male and female aspects of the world. This is the sound that near-death experiencers, even Alexander, heard in paradise. The sound that he identified with the Divine Mother was the Buddhist mantra Om Mani Padme Hum, the male and female aspects of the word. This is a sound that is identified with seed syllables, describing the first unfolding stages of creation. First, there is the sacred Om. Then comes the Divine Mother, or in Latin, Mater, or in Spanish, Madre, and the Divine Father, the Latin, Peter, the Spanish, Padre. Finally, there is the creation of the perfected human, in English, the human being, which is none other than the Adam Kadmon of the Kabbalah. The beautiful Buddhist mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum, is translated as the jewel in the lotus, the reflection of the great mystery that is hidden within the cosmic egg. Many believe that this powerful mantra sums up the teachings of Buddhism, for it reflects the integration of duality and polarity, the universal and individual through and into each other. Like a metaphysical mirror, its power is said to be activated by the fifth element, the Shri or the Bri, which refers to divinity itself. At the center lies the unknowable one, or what the Zohar, the foundational work of the Kabbalah, calls the N, A-I-N, the wisdom of the Ein Sof, the divine child of light, called the Ein Sofer. This is the first created soul, the Atman, or the Isvara of Hindu teachings, the Sat Nam, who holds the holy name of the indwelling Christ. And this is what they show for the primordial cosmic egg. Look at that. The rays of light coming forth from the serpent's head, and the Divine Mother and Father inside of the auric field, giving birth to everything through the primordial waters. That is such a powerful picture. Next, we go into the balance of the universe, and we will pick up with that on 6.1. We're about 33 minutes in. So with that, I hope you guys are enjoying this. This is how our, as far as we know right now, this is how everything is being created. And this is how all energy and form, consciousness and water are directing and operating with the laws that we are aware of, which are all running through the cosmic spirals of pi in the Fibonacci sequence. So working with numbers and working with letters, everything that we see is being formed. So we'll see you on the next one. Much love to you. Have a beautiful day. May favor and joy fill you to abundance. Talk soon. Bye-bye.